I that is one thing I veer away from. I'm such a
Of
negative
course.
person. I like when it comes to the Lakers, I'm just like I'm so nervous that I'm just like I'd rather hear the bad stuff so I don't get too excited because if they don't, then okay. But if
I
they
was
do,
expecting it.
yeah, I was like it's okay. But when they start winning, I'm like okay, I wasn't expecting that. But the moment I expect them to win, then I'm just throwing shit, you know. And, I already know. I already know.
It
But
feels like I agree with you on the LeBron shit. Like they want him to dominate. It's like they want him to be all the NBA players before him. Because I think where media is now, it's so heightened and everybody's gonna riff off the same thing. And if LeBron's, the NBA face, um, it's just constant. Like, he's never good enough. He's the greatest. They give you both sides of the fucking story for LeBron, and it's like when it's all said and done, because stat wise, championship wise, the records, he's gonna be the greatest. If people don't understand that now, it's gonna be later down the road, and it's gonna be crazy because I do feel like the NBA is not gonna be. I mean, the NBA is already. I think the NBA is kind of here, not to be like because it's such an international brand too. So a lot of the superstars, there's a lot of national appeal, but
yeah,
it's it's star power, it's staying power. I think relies in NBA USA grown talent. That's where I think
oh
it's
yeah,
its
yeah,
key marker is,
yeah.
and I think moving into the era of look, man, it's we're all international, and which is great. I think all those players are amazing. Um, but I think what LeBron did, even as early as coming in from high school, and then being in the Cavs, and then coming out the gate swinging, and just for longevity's sake, and like I said, all the accolades that come along with it, and everything he's done off the court.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, when it's all said and done, man, he is gonna be probably the most revered superstar, I think, when it's all said and done, at least
Well, yeah,
until
like
whatever the next person will be. But I have a feeling that person ain't going to be able to be
if
over
Michael
him.
if Michael Jordan's the greatest, then LeBron's the greatest all around
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
there's not like the consistency he's done it has been
Mm-hmm.
such a ridiculous. Like
Yeah.
him and like so I'll, him and like Curry, right? Curry shooting the three. If he's open, he misses a three. You're more shocked that he misses a three than him making it now.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? You're
Very
like,
true.
what? He missed a
Yeah.
shot,
Crazy.
right?
Yes.
It's funny because like I had a friend and this is maybe me stuck in old ways. I had a friend that said Curry is the greatest point guard of all time. And I completely refuted that, right?
Uh huh.
Because my thought process, and this is where I'm probably like everyone else, my thought process of what a point guard is different. Curry's a point guard by position, but not by play.
Yeah, for sure. No, he's more in the Allen Iverson mold.
Yeah, he's more, and not even like it's even different than Allen Iverson because Allen Iverson was more of a vacuum ball hog type player,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Like a shorter Jordan,
Yeah, well, like Curry is different in a way where he's not so much of a ball hog.
like Steve Nash.
Yeah, he's just like you need me to shoot the three and I'll shoot it. He's a mixture of like Nash slash like Reggie Miller, you know. Like, Reggie Miller wasn't a ball hog. It's just like he's come off of a screen, whatever, shot the three because it was asked of him throughout the team.
Yeah.
A lot of the stuff I feel like Curry is doing is what he's asked to do and not what he's trying to force thing outside of him still being a team member, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. The team dynamic for sure. He's definitely more of a uh I don't want to say system. Great player. I think having the offense built around him the way it
Mm-hmm.
is definitely beneficial to his legacy, and rightfully so, because he's able to flourish within that, and they're able to really exude, a lot of his strengths, hide his weaknesses, type shit.
Mm-hmm.
Where the LeBron thing is more, you place LeBron anywhere, he'll he'll get it done
I think,
because he'll alter his
yeah,
game a lot.
but I
He
think
can do a lot of different things.
it's funny you say that because I agree and disagree on one part because it's like he'll do a lot of that. The one part where he doesn't usually let go is the ball distributing part. Like he's handling the ball a lot. And this is why I think him and
LeBron.
Westbrook, yeah, this is why him and Westbrook didn't work well.
Yeah.
Well, Westbrook wasn't a good shooter, so he wasn't a pop and shoot person.
Yeah.
He like Westbrook is good when he demands the ball because he's so athletic, he does everything and gets people involved in a different way. He's gonna
Mm-hmm.
run in and fly and get the rebound. He's gonna go and do all this stuff. Um, and many times like high energy person, right? He won't just sit there on a corner and hit a three, you know. And even though like you can have some comparison between Westbrook and John Morant, I still don't think John Morant's like Westbrook. He's a better shooter than Westbrook, but John Morant still I'm going to try to score a lot. Well, Westbrook will try to score, but then also try to get people like he'll go and dive for the rebound. He'll do all these other things. You won't be afraid to ask him to do stuff because he will do it. Like not do stuff. Let me take that back. You won't be afraid that he didn't try to give it his all when he played.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Efforts 1,000. It'll reflect too. Same thing with
Yeah,
Westbrook when it's all said
yeah.
and done. Oscar Robertson, legendary shit. Because unfortunately, it sucks how we are in today, and this progresses forward. I'm assuming everything's going to be stat sheet
Well, yeah,
and
yeah.
accolades, so it'll reflect. But if we're talking about the player and the visual and what we see on the court, including off court and personality shit, very unique.
No, it is.
Very
It is.
unique.
We live in because I mean this is what I believe. And granted, I think people always like our parents strive for perfection, right? I think even more now, there's people that want this like perfection to stuff and demand it, but not even in themselves. You know what I'm saying? Like it's like to me, it's like there's a lot of people's like, come on, give some grace on things in general. But
We can't be
there's
human about it.
but because the access of seeing greatness, now that is the standard, not the outlier. That's the
Yes,
standard,
for sure.
you
It's
know.
media's
And it's
fault,
like
man. Media put it that way, man.
you know, it's weird because
And Nike.
I don't know if
Fuck
it's
Nike.
media or just us as people. You know,
Or
like,
we constantly search for this shit. Yeah.
well, because I wonder, it's like my dad. Was I perfectionist because I was born that way, or was I perfectionist because of how I was raised? You know.
Mm, mm. There's got to be some level of perfection. I think everybody deals with in some way, shape, or
Well,
form. Right?
yeah,
We're all kind of quirky like that.
yeah, like in many ways, like people would define like the Japanese culture for a very long time, perfections on certain things. German engineering strive for perfection, right? Like some of the stuff that from my understanding, I have to look it up again, but what they used to design in World War II would destroy a lot of American designs because of how they engineered things. And
It is crazy how that is. They said for every 6 American tanks, one German tank. That's the odds of the type of technology and capabilities of a German tank would equal 6 American tanks at that time. Whatever,
yeah,
that's crazy, but yeah.
and so it's like, and there's a good part of perfection, but there's also a bad part when it's like but just remember that is not the standard in everything in life. You know what I'm saying? Like, and when you talk to people who desire perfection, it's like no, that's what it is. Everything else, and it's like, well, your attitude's not always perfect or whatever. You know, it's like there's this ideology, just like like I kind of think of people who bodybuilders, right? A lot of bodybuilders are always like, oh, this and that. Well, that's fine. I mean, let me put it this way, like every business person, Kanye is that way in certain parts. Every business person is that way. The bodybuilder is like, oh, you don't do what I do. You're not perfect. You're lazy. You're blah blah blah. And it's like, no, it's just I don't have the same desire, and that's okay. But it's not okay with them. What they rather do is not. I'm generalizing. What some of these people rather do is break you down because you're not thinking the same way as them. And the moment you don't, they want to call you names and say you're weak or you're this or you're that. Instead of
Projecting.
huh?
Yeah. Projecting.
Yeah, because like
Yeah.
this is my I mean I'm not correct, but this is my thought. Most people who are major bodybuilders had some insecurity inside of them.
Oh, for sure.
You know what I'm saying? Most people who get major plastic surgery have an insecurity inside of them. Because a lot of them say, "I
Yeah.
did it because I for myself."
Yeah.
Sure. I mean, duh, right?
Of course. Of course.
But did you? You know what I'm saying?
Wow.
Did you?
Wow. Wow. How does, as you were speaking about that, I was thinking like when it comes to the idea of perfection, right? And you're somewhat of a religious person, more so than I would be, at least officially in the practice or the following, correct?
Yeah.
Perfection through the lens of religion, like what would be, some points from there, or any type of um like philosophy or theory behind that, or
Well,
does that ever appear in there, or is it ever, you know
no, I think so. So this is what I feel now. I'm not completely into it as much, but like this is what I feel. Right?
sure.
Churches want you to be perfect and not sin, while the religion, at least in Christianity, often talks about errors and making mistakes and learning from your mistake.
Hmm,
Okay,
interesting. Yeah.
because a lot of at least the Christian Bible, from my understanding, I'm not into Catholicism, so I don't know, but a lot of the Christian Bible was talking about forgiving, even like sorry, even in Catholicism, you repent for your sins, do a couple of Hail Marys, right?
Yes.
Okay, so it's about forgiving and trying to go into the right path, right? Because you to err is to human, right? And the only thing in theory for them is the perfect thing is God, right? In many ways, though, right? Uh, I think it was a Razcast thing. It was like where he said because there's an interview with the vampire, which is a song that he did years ago on Razcast Nation, and it was like if God is perfect and God created evil, darkness, and mistakes, then in a sense that's imperfect too. You know what I'm saying?
Mm.
So it's like a double edged sword. But there's no such thing as necessarily perfect. However, there are things that make me think that there is like happy happenstances that create perfection. Like walking around today and looking at the sun and the weather and the stars or whatever. And I always think about this in a universal scale. It's like we are in the perfect position, a, 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 away from the sun to sustain life. That's crazy.
It is crazy. I agree with you there. And I don't know what perfection is, but that could be it. Just in the way that's framed, because that's not a common observance. It's like something we just, oh yeah, that's just how it is. I don't really, whatever. Like you really look up, you're like, that's there for sure. I see it. You see it? Yeah, we all,
Well, it's
that's
it's
hot. That's got to be hot. I know it's hot.
it's akin
We are
to
just far enough to survive.
yeah, we're far enough to survive currently at this moment, right?
uh,
But it's kind of akin to the off topic that we had right now. Is like most of us do not pay attention to these things because we get caught up in life and don't have the time to think about these things, or we don't create the time to think about these things. Let me put it that way.
or we
Because
don't have
having
to. Maybe it's not part
we
of the
don't
conversation.
we don't need to like why
Yeah,
bother
why?
your information, right?
Mm-hmm.
So like and one of the things I was being told from my I went to therapy for a while, and even my piano instructor was saying is like when you're blessed with this knowledge and this forethought or this thought of accepting and paying attention to things going around you, um, it's hard to talk to other people because they're not there yet. They won't understand, you know. For a very long time, my dad died when I was younger. I was open, I was caring, I was doing too much for people, which wasn't in my nature, but a lot of it was because I believe I understood that life is only a certain amount of time. But most people will never understand that until they had a loss. Just like I didn't know how to understand certain parts of relationships and how things were working if I didn't have real relationships. Or let me take the back, not real relationships, but let alone you denied what was being told to you in front of you. You know what I'm saying? Or you had you, I keep saying this, like hope and denial are almost the same thing, you know?
Yeah, those are fine line there. Very, very, very much so. Yeah, I agree with that sentiment 1,000%. I think experiencing loss is traumatic in a lot of ways, and you kind of you go from there. And then somebody that's never experienced, like myself, I didn't experience like true loss until a couple years ago, like with uncle of mine, and that was the first time where I'm like, whoa, I've never experienced this feeling before, and trying to work through that, it doesn't really leave. It just becomes part of your
Yeah.
character. You know what I'm saying? Like it's inherited in a lot of the way I think is going to be because of that event, and that's later in life. So if it's just, me and you talking, it's like, yeah, that's about a 20-year difference, possibly 20 plus year difference of experiencing an experience that everybody will experience, but you
Going
just had
on
it 10 years before me, or that many years before me.
going on 25.
Yeah, 25 years. There you go.
I've lived most of my life without my father,
Yeah.
you know, but without that guidance.
Yeah,
Now
exactly.
I
Yeah.
did
So
have
everything that you
guidance.
have come to this point um is going to have that pre-built into, your path.
Yeah,
It's
it was weird.
crazy.
It was weird to say that because like I didn't feel like I had certain guidance, but at the same time, I probably didn't accept the guidance that was there because I was still hurt. And then at the same time, I'm looking back, it's like where I'm realizing I'm missing my dad because certain parts of me have unraveled, and I'm trying to rebuild some of that. I mean, like so. There's like we said, we talked about who I was, and maybe I needed to change. Some of that change was good, right? Like my dad passing away changed me to take on certain accountabilities. Maybe I would have been more reckless, right? And more patient. I bit my tongue a lot more because you remember when I was younger, I just for the most part I'll be like blah blah blah, and then I'll like you got me there. I'll just be like, well, fuck you then, and you're taught not to do that, and now I'm unlearning that you should be able to with tact say how you a man says what he thinks, with tact. So I have to relearn that stuff because I've had that held back. Um, I remember this is gonna probably be bad, but I remember when I was 19, you know, a girl was into me. I knew she was into me. She had me come over. It was a booty call hours. I was like, you know what time that is, right? It's like
You know what time it
it's
is?
10 o'clock or whatever, That's
On the dot
and
in
this is
my
just
drop top
I
cruising
think this
the
was before like
street.
the internet really well, the internet was blowing up. But that was like kind of like before I don't know if that was just a known thing, like blowing into a Nintendo cartridge. Like all of a sudden it was the three things like after 10 o'clock, does a girl call you?
Mm, it ain't for dinner.
You mean it's business, right? So she did that. I went over and we're chilling or whatever. And at one point I was like, oh yeah, blah blah. I was like, I just want you to stay in a blah blah blah. And then after a while, I was staying, I was like, well, I'm about to go. He was like, I don't want you to stay. I was like, then what are we doing here? You called me past 10 o'clock. What are we doing?
Mm-hmm.
Then what I'm saying? The Smitty SmackDown went down. You know what I'm saying?
Smackdown.
The SmackDown. And it was weird because at that time in my life, it was something I wanted to do, but was taught to reject it when you're not in a relationship.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
a man having sex with a woman and not intending to be with them. You're a
Out of
dog.
wedlock.
You're a dog. You're
Dog.
even though the lady wanted it too. You know what I'm saying?
It
She
messes with your mind, man.
she wanted to hold it back and hold it hostage, right? And then I called it out, and then it happened. Well, I was one of these things where I felt bad because I felt like I used the single mother because she was a single mom at the time. It's like all the things I was trained. But then now, as I got older, I looked at it, I was like, not saying that part, but it's like honestly to be just upfront and be like, boom, what is it? Okay, have sex, cool. What do you want? All right, cool. Oh, you don't want that? No, then I don't want that either. Or no, no. If you oh, this is what I want. Oh, you don't want that? Then I don't want you either.
Mm.
These are certain things that like I have to relearn because I've been castrated from it. You know what I'm saying? But I say that just because like also to go back, that was me 3 years removed from my father being around, so I was still very direct on things that I would say and do.
Mhm. I think the fascinating thing is just like your reference with the Nintendo blowing the cartridge thing,
Mhm.
we're not all seeing the same thing ever. We're all not experiencing the same thing ever. Rarely people have shared experiences.
Mhm.
And even then, that's not factoring in you just your personal self experiencing it. So it's like we know that we're thinking alike, maybe on certain things. And then it's this kind of shit that we're doing now is where we're really trying to test the waters. Like, yeah, man, this is what I've been through. What do you think? No, I never even thought of it that way. But it's interesting that you're sharing that because I'm like, I could see how that, at least when you're in analysis mode, right? Where like, the day's over, shut down, analysis. Okay, this
Yeah,
is why I think this is what causes me. Okay, now solution. You know what I'm saying? Like, here's
yeah.
how I correct.
As it works, I mean, like in many ways, I'm a person that's like, does this work? Does this not work? And unfortunately, I've on certain parts of my life, I've done stuff over and over and over again. Granted, some things are compound interest. Like you can go to the gym, like I'm sore, whatever. The first week or so, you're not going to see the strength, but then the payoff would be 3 months down the road, where you're like, oh my, oh dang, hey, you look like you're getting smaller. Oh really? Like or for instance, you're talking about, I don't know if this was on wax or not, but you're talking about when you were becoming vegan and stop drinking. Well, you're not going to feel you're going to feel some effects, but you're not going to see the effects until like 2 to 3 months. You know,
Yeah, see, yeah, that's
Major
yeah.
ones, major ones. You know what I'm saying? Because most
No,
of the time,
that was major for sure.
yeah,
Same, because all you're doing is just trying to survive at that point. It's like fight or flight. Like, you're just trying to. I just want to survive, so I had to make drastic changes that I knew that were inherently good, but I just never did them because human. Because dumb brain is stupid.
but
I'm learning.
you're addicted to whatever it is. You might be addicted to
Yeah,
something and
the
you don't know
human
how to stop it.
experience, man. Yeah, no, I agree. A lot of those traumatic experiences, I think, play a role, and then into your decision making. I think that when you were like saying, maybe that made you a little more accountable for things earlier
Yeah,
than what you expected, at least. You know, um, and damn, that makes a lot of sense. Where maybe in a situation of mine, it's like, oh, I was just felt like it was everything was always going to be there all the time. Like I never felt, like, oh, I'm just gonna whatever, fucking dick around and or just do whatever the fuck I'm doing, not understanding like, oh shit, that could just be done.
yeah. I mean, like,
What am I gonna do if I had to do this by myself? Like I never even thought about that for hella long.
well, there's a game I remember, the game of life, that was being played when I was a kid. I was like always nervous that in Monopoly, like I had this like understanding of money or whatever, got nervous about it. And I still remember like maybe the first day or two when I had the apartment in downtown Sacramento area. I overheard some people talking trash about me being worried about making rent,
Mm-hmm.
in the bathroom while they were smoking weed, and I was like, I just remember thinking to myself like, "Fuck you guys," and that's how I always been, right? It's like I'm in many ways I'm chilling, but I'm also 2 or 3 steps ahead of things. So I'm just like boom, boom. I'm trying to think ahead. And so I just remember feeling that way. But I will definitely say that, a lot of reason I strive to be successful for a long time was I didn't want to let my dad's name down for a very long time. I think I let that go a couple of years ago. You know, I wanted to cherish his name and be something. And then my health got, I don't know if it was one or the other, but my health kept on dwindling. It could have been the stress of me feeling that I needed to be successful, mixture with all this other stuff that I just let it go and just was like, I have to do. I gotta just continue to push to be good and successful for myself. And I mean, it sounds deeper when I say it now. It's like, oh, you gotta be, like this um motivational speak. Oh, you gotta be successful for yourself. But what I'm just saying is like to a point where it's like, no, it's got to just gotta be good for what you're. Are you happy with what you're doing, opposed to feeling that there's this person who passed away pressure. That person will always love you. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
So,
that's a
um,
great question. To oneself, like, what are you doing? Why are you doing it? It sounds common. It's like life, right? We're all supposed to know kind of what we're supposed to do to live this the best way somehow. I don't
yeah,
know if we learn that when we learn it, but we all know individually what the fuck we're supposed to be doing. And for whatever reason, we just kind of don't do it.
yeah. It's like,
If not the whole way. Like,
isn't it
yeah,
weird that just sometimes, I don't know if it's because we're trained or whatever, but there's certain things that that just don't feel right, even when
mm,
you do it. And you're like, oh, cool. I joke around, like after you masturbate, like and you're like, oh, what the heck did I?
Oh, dude, instant, bro.
What did I
Sadness.
just do? Oh, my unborn kids. You
Oh
could have been a
man, the
doctor.
sadness, bro.
You
The
could have saved
immediate regret.
you could have changed the world.
Oh man, that is
Could have
hilarious,
been
bro.
somebody, but now you're just a sock.
You know, that is the human experience, man, as we're going through it live. This is working through some mental stuff for sure. Cause whether it's our age or this is the or this is how people think, or maybe should maybe think about once in a while. I mean, not to say you need to do something, but
Yeah.
these are interesting questions. I don't really know a lot of people of what they think about that, or does that play into their, daily life? I was like, that is fascinating because that is some serious shit.
No, it really is like you're like, wow, wait, are we doing this? What is going on? Like, is this right? I think a lot of times people know, like, you know what's right.
Inherently,
Because
we do.
the main thing is most of like the most is the golden rule, but now I use it as a golden rule in reverse. But you think about like how you treat people. It's like, do you want to be treated that same way? You know,
Oh, I work through that every day, bro. I try to
right?
really
Like,
work on that every day.
but also at the same time, you're like you have to do it with the proper boundaries. Like, yo, sometimes you got to do things you don't like because someone's
Yeah.
stepping
It's
your
a give
boundary.
and take, man. It's
Right.
uneasy. It's like that shit we always talk about, man. It's like, man, this chair is just not like high enough, or it's too short, or man, the temperature is just, where's the right temp? It's always just kind of, it's never fully, it's just, we're striving for that.
We're really trying to strive for that, and
And we know that. And we
yeah,
know it's not achievable, but it's either you're doing that or you're not. And
yeah.
everybody to some degree knows what it's like when you're not doing it. And some people know it worse than others. So far to the point where, it could be, related to serious health stuff to as much as, man, that was just dumb. Like, why am I doing that? Whenever that realization happens, it plays out like a movie sometimes. And maybe I think like this because I watch a lot of TV, but yeah, I was like, ooh, that was not good. I need to just understand that that wasn't great and don't do that. At what point I decide to want to choose that, that's the life. You look at other people, you just think, man, that you think everybody's doing the best they're doing in life. And the people they ain't doing the best in life, you're like, damn, I don't want to be that.
No, not at all.
You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying it's not happy. It's just that don't look great. I definitely want to be that.
But
So here we
sometimes
go.
doing what you're happy for the short term doesn't make you happy in the long term either. You
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
But like, yeah, I forgot what I was gonna say. It had to deal with like happiness and whatnot. But yeah, no, I feel that, dude. It's like you look at things. No. What it was like I have a hard time watching shows where people continually do the same shit over and over and over and over and over and over, like drama shows that people keep digging themselves in holes because that's like a lot of newer shows now for the most part, especially like on FX and like not TNT, but what's the other one? Not Lifetime, but like watching Better Call Saul or watching like what was the other one where they're bikers? That was a TV show where they're bikers for a while.
Oh,
It was supposed to be like
Sons of Anarchy.
Son of Anarchy. It was like start watching these shows. It's like a drama fest of doing the same thing over and over again, and then I get anxiety because one partially I know I do the same thing, but then partially I hate it. Like it's like fucking learn something, you know? It just you're repeating the same shit over and over again, and I can't stand it, you know. Like I was watching Beef. I don't know if you watched it on Netflix yet.
No, everybody's talking about that.
Yeah, everybody's talking about it. It was a bit much for me, but there's a part where after a while I was like, fucking just let this shit end already. Like, you know? Okay,
uh,
like I'll put it in a different perspective. It's like, and maybe I do this too on this podcast or whatever with you, but you have a person or maybe a customer that comes in and whatever, and you're talking to them, and there's always like the same negative things that they put themselves through every time, and depending on your patience. But after a while, you're like, what the fuck are you even talking about anymore? You realize you're just doing this to yourself.
I've definitely had those. Yeah, I definitely.
Like, and you have to sometimes. Now, granted, I will say it does come with how people come at it. You know, some people are like, oh man, you know, blah blah. You can see that it cares them, or there's just some people who just complain about things and
Mm-hmm.
they don't really try to work on it. Because I believe you can see the people who really. I mean, I'm just assuming you can see people who are really trying. And you can see the struggle. You can see it in their voice, and then I feel like you can see the people who say they're trying but quit.
Yeah.
Because the struggle is a struggle. It's hard. Whatever you go through, if it's depression or whatever, when you're in it, it is hard. It is like debilitating at times on certain things, certain struggles that people have in life. But
Yeah.
then some of the people who just like, I tried. It was like, what did you do? I walked 2 steps. That's not how you lose weight. I did it. I was like, you know what I'm saying?
I've had, yeah, I've definitely seen both sides for sure, especially that I've been a part of this company now for a longer period of time, probably my longest job ever held. Um, I've definitely met, patrons that have, you know, short, long term, you know, every so often, every single gambit, you know what I'm saying? The person that's like, hey, first time, just starting a new diet, for some health reasons, man. What's up? Walk me through. Let me know what I need to know. I don't know shit about this. I was like, okay. There's that. There's the uh people that are already mid swing or already into it, and they are 6 months in, you see a difference. Whether it's the physical form. I've seen people transform from you know heavier set people to like, yo, your skin's just chilling on your bones now. It looks strange. Like,
It's so
damn.
weird. It's so weird because sometimes I'm like, I know you lost weight, but does that mean you're really healthy? Because you look weird right now.
There's, yeah, I've
I'm rather
definitely
like
had a
I'd rather
couple
have you have a
instances of
little
that,
bit of meat where you look okay, opposed to
which is
like,
great if they feel good. You
yeah,
know, I
yeah.
think they were so strict on it. I remember it was a couple, really, really lovely couple. And from their first time, and they wrote it all the way through. I haven't really seen them in a while, but I hope they're doing well. But they wrote it. I seen them all the way through finish. Where there was a time when I was like, they didn't come in for a while. They came in. It's like, what's up? How you guys doing? Like, oh, just living life.
Mm.
I was like, hey, I haven't seen you guys in a while. Oh, just started eating a little more. You started eating more meat. Started eating, hanging out, eating some ice cream, shit like that. Not too often, but we'll still eat seafood here and there because they've, I guess, maintained their lifestyle for so long that they got bored of it. And they were just like, switch it up.
I'm not saying normal because normal is subjective, but like
Of course.
you know what I'm saying? But like I was gonna say normality, like I know for me, like for a while when I first found out about kidney failure, man, I was like I was in a bad depressive state, so I was like I didn't know what to eat, so I just go to work and I'll be hungry, so I get like celery sticks and stuff because I read to lower your blood pressure.
Oh, those are so good.
Let celery and carrots, right, and eat that. Maybe have like one bad snack, like chips or whatever. Then get home and just go to sleep because I was like, I don't know what to eat, so fuck it, I'll just go to sleep.
Mm.
It's funny because your body can do so much stuff easier when you're younger too, or maybe
Mm-hmm.
take it back. I don't know if you can or not. I think there's a maybe sometimes you might have more will when you're younger. I don't know. It depends, but um, I feel like I was able to do that easier then. There's certain things I can do now. Like I haven't, I for a very long time when I was in dialysis, like I didn't eat potatoes.
Mm.
Anything potatoes, anything with potassium in it. And still mentally, I'm like, I mean, I've ate some fries, but I'm still kind of like, I'm cool off of fries, you know.
Yeah.
I don't, I'm cool off of milk. You know, like even now, like I'm using. I mean, I have Greek yogurt, but like for the most part, like if I'm using dairy, I'm using oat milk or whatever in like my coffee or whatever.
Very common.
However, when I make my pasta, I'm using cream.
Oh,
You know what I'm saying? But
just in case. Ain't no oat milk going in this.
no, no. But I'm gonna let you know. But for the most
Don't get
part,
it twisted.
Yeah, for the most part, I don't drink a lot of milk or eat ice cream or anything like that. You know.
It feels like nobody be drinking milk, man.
Yeah.
Straight up, I don't know any adults that be anywhere be like, "Yo, can I get a number four in a milk?"
Right. Yeah. Let me get like the hearty meal and some
I
milk.
don't be seeing that. Yo, let me get like three shots of Jameson and then two milk backs. Like, excuse me, sir, a milk back. I do have some heavy cream in the kitchen. That's all I can do for you.
Yeah, some milk back to the shot.
You know what I'm saying?
That's
Only
some,
time milk's in the kitchen if you making bechamel or you baking with hella sugar. Some bread, but yeah, milk ain't what it used to be. Like milk stock is down right now.
right. Like, we got to get out with the got milk. The
But
got
dude, am I
like
tripping? Like our whole entire childhood was built on milk commercials.
on milk, man. And then now, like, I have an ounce. I think it's particular type of cheeses and milk. Certain ones, I'm just like, yo, I am like playing the butt flute all day, like, bloop, bloop,
Yeah, but see, what is
you know
that?
what
Is
I mean?
that okay? So I'm to think it's two different things. I don't know if it's related or not, but something about if we stop drinking it, and it's not all of us. Then I have another subject content interesting after that. Are we like, did we stop drinking it and then our body can't, you know,
Well,
metabolize or
I,
understand
I
it?
think I think it's a mixture because certain like my
Certain
assumption to this is
races.
they're racist. My assumption to this is that your body will adapt the things that it has, right, and won't know is bad to you until later, and your body will adapt to certain things that are good to you as well, and it will adapt to things that you don't use anymore. And then when it comes back, you feel the change. So what I mean by that, a very difficult long term way, like I've seen people who haven't ate fried chicken in a very long time, right? And then they'll eat fried chicken and their stomach's fucked up because of all the
Uh,
oil and stuff like that. You know
mm,
what I'm saying? Or people who haven't ate steak in a long time, and the moment they eat a steak, their stomach's fucked up and they're shitting. You know what I'm saying?
mm, mm,
So I think this is the same thing, but I also think it's a sign. So what that means is, right, is like, oh, if you haven't been around something for a very long time and you eat it and your body is rejecting it, maybe that's a sign that you're not supposed to eat it, right? I don't know how many people that I know, unless it's because people always say bad fish. You said this before, like people bad fish is like no, it's either cooked or whatever happened. But it's like for the most part, I'm like I think it's just the mental. It's easy to run to fish and run to the negative part about fish. I feel like
mm.
growing up that was always the thing.
Fish
You know,
gets the bad rap, bro.
it's
Fish
bad rep. It's
is
because the smell of
bad
it. You
narrative.
know,
Fish is
it's
LeBron
it's a
James's career.
exactly. It's like this, although it's like one of the more all around food for you. You know what I'm
It's
saying?
the greatest. It's got to be the greatest. Like working in this industry, it's like the different types, the colors, the differences. You don't get that with anything else. They're beautiful creatures. There's plenty of them. The sea is fucking humongous. We only eat like a small percentage of the ocean. We only eat like a 1% of the ocean, probably. Where on land, we're over here. On land, we do the same thing. We only eat this, and we only eat this. Even though
Yeah.
there's all this other shit around, we
Just
only eat this.
you know, it's funny. I was like,
At
a
least in
side note on
America.
that in America because I said it was like I was talking to someone about this. I was like walking in and saying like, we see a dog and to us in America where it's domesticated, we give it a name, whatever, right?
Health insurance, voting rights.
All this stuff, voting rights, right? We call it them, they, or whatever, right? And
Triggered.
right, triggering. I hope so. I hope so.
I hope
Uh,
so too.
but but right, but somewhere else where no someone doesn't value it the same way, they don't do that. Like I want to say like in the Indian culture, they don't eat cows, correct?
I think so.
I wanted to say in certain religious statements, they consider the cow like a cherished, sacred thing,
Sacred.
right?
Yeah.
But here in America, we're eating it, so it's like, well, we've deemed it differently. So it wasn't about like it's not sitting there and say go out there and eat a dog. What I'm just saying, well, one, if you're hungry, you'll probably eat anything. When you really get down to it, you'll like survival, you'll probably do whatever, right? To an extent, But like I was just all the point what I was saying is like what we consider weird sometimes it may not be weird to others, but it's just because here we look at a dog a certain way. I don't know what it was. It was like I think it was about like racial. It was a mixture of like racial stuff and seeing things. How people are like, oh, Asian people eat dogs and there's negative stuff and blah blah. I was like, where
Yeah.
does this stuff come from, or why you guys say it so rudely? Just like I've seen. I'm not gonna sit here and deny. Even like sometimes when I go to Asian restaurants, I'm seeing my friends eating the weirdest, to me, the weirdest delicacy of stuff. I'm like, no, I'm not doing that.
Mm.
You know.
Yeah,
But at the same time, my culture, black people in America will eat the booty hole of pigs
that
called
is also true.
chitlins and pig feet.
Very true.
Feet. These pigs once had Air Force Ones on them.
This was the Air Force One.
Yeah, just stomping in their Air Force Ones. And
I
then,
think that is fascinating. That's a very fascinating topic. I've never thought about. I mean, I've thought about it. I've just never talked about it to anybody. I was just like, that's fucking hilarious when you hear that. Oh, you fucking Asian dog eating. Yeah,
yeah.
Asian dog eater. I think that's hilarious. Even
Well,
though
and
I'm Asian,
yeah,
I'm like,
it's
yeah,
just
I've
like,
seen
yeah,
it. I've been to countries where I'm like, I see dogs, not necessarily on the menu, but I've seen dogs being separate from like pet dogs.
yeah.
So I'm just like, I'm not of the culture, but I respect, people's way of life. So it's all good. Like I get
But
it. There's things.
people, people eat rabbit stew, rabbit, right? And I'm like, I'm still
Mhm.
not there yet. I'm not there in my like when I was watching some of the cooking shows, I'm seeing what people were making. I was like, I can't do it. But in order to be sometimes these top level chefs, they be making fucking food out of whatever. Look, it is delicious. You put a little seasoning and butter on that, maybe some thyme, because for some reason white people love to put thyme on everything. Like every time
Yeah.
I watch like a Western cook is like, oh, I put some thyme and rosemary. I'm like, get this out of my face. Right.
Yeah, those are crazy
Right.
ingredients, especially fresh. I mean, you only really see them around the holidays,
Usually, I
but
think rosemary is the one that's more pungent than thyme. Thyme is okay, but
rosemary is a
rosemary is
unique.
just like, God dang.
Yeah, well, this is fucking a leaf. Like I'm just eating.
Rebecca, too much
Yeah, I'll
rosemary.
say, yeah, man. I'm just
But
eating. What is this wood? Like
yeah,
this is wood. Like
yeah. Here, I just took some actual grass from outside.
yeah, this shit's strong
I
as
simmered
fuck.
it. I simmered it a little bit.
Did
Here's the
you?
rose petal.
God damn, this is hard. This
Right,
is a hard ass leaf branch.
right. Like who?
Yeah, I don't know. Why is that?
Right,
Why?
and then now I was getting down to like someone's like, who discovered thyme or rosemary? Maybe it was Rose. Maybe it was literally.
Dude, food is just as fascinating. And I just started thinking about the history of some shit about food. I just started because I do research on, like alternative history already.
Mhm.
So, and I understand food is the way that it's told to me, but clearly there are a lot of holes in, the history of food. So that's why I started dabbling into food. And there's some interesting shit that I found. And I'm just like, how do narratives come about with different cultures? Because to find that answer, you have to find out the people's migration, and then from there you go migration. And if Asian and dog eating is associated with Asians and the whole Asian countries, and then you look like something like chitlins and pork feet or pig feet, and then Chinese people got the chicken feet and head to tail cooking. That's kind of the idea.
Yeah,
Both,
yeah. That's the
yeah,
thing. Like we're eating everything. Don't know
yeah.
no thing is wasted. You cherish it by one of it was like I think it was that same one that you were on or whatever was about barbecuing different
Mm-hmm.
stuff. And the person was like, I cook everything on the body and whatever. It was a show where it's like you cherish the animal by using every piece of it. And that's
Yeah,
what I think.
that's kind
Like
of the
don't waste the
idea.
animal like that because now you're and that's like a very I don't know. I mean, this is what I was told, so I don't really know. I haven't really sat there and talked to a Native American person, but that's what it seemed to be from the Native American aspect of like you use every part, you cherish every bone, you use everything because everything is useful. Similar to the circle of life, how you're like you don't just waste things, and then you see the people who waste,
Circle of
right? The
life.
people who waste stuff, you see how they act, they see how they
See,
don't care for things.
you are Native American. Yeah, man, that makes sense. You explain it so well, as if like you lived it, and you are that. I think that is deep, deep in your blood, bro. I agree with you because when you go head to tail cooking, the
Mhm.
head to tail cooking idea in the theory that how you explain it is it makes sense. Like you have to cherish the animal for all the time and effort spent and the way that we've come to learn this knowledge and understand what this being can do to us in terms of a nourishing effect and its usefulness in the way that we consume it.
Mhm.
um and it feels and I've from what I've seen, it feels like we've done this a lot of different times, a lot of different ways. Because
The
there's
Matrix reset
beliefs.
itself.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like mooses are still around, buffaloes. Like
Mm.
you just look at things that are deemed ancient, and then you try to figure out how and why they disappeared, and that could be for a lot of different reasons. But the era we're in now, and where we live, and what did we do in this you know country is this is how what we eat. This is how we're doing it,
Yeah,
and it's constant.
I've had a friend who used to order bison beef, which I've heard good stuff about that, right? But he was like,
Yeah,
it got too expensive. But
really
bison
lean.
is really
Yeah,
lean, but really it's weird because I don't know
tasty.
if I really like lean food. Like like there's a lot of people who like filet, right?
Yeah.
Like not a fish fillet, but like flaming mignon, right? And it's like it's good, it's soft or whatever. That marbling and fat on the ribeye though,
Nice. Ribeyes nice.
right?
Fillets are good too. Fillets are good.
No, they're good. They're good.
Yeah.
But like for some reason, like a really lean meat that you're eating, for me, like it oftentimes now also I think too, what I'm learning down my path is just that it's not cooked properly. What I mean by that is people cook the fucking hell out of the juices and the natural juices in it. They overcook it to make it dry, right? Because lean meat doesn't have the fat in there, so you have to cook it a certain way to keep it moist and flavorful. I'm just making my own assumption on it, but what happens a lot of times lean meat just seems to have less that flavor profile because of fat or whatever. But a
True.
lot of times I really believe because I actually found this out yesterday. Not found this out, but I realized this yesterday. I had cooked the salmon that I made, and I was like, why is this seemed not as juicy and flavorful as I had before? Now, granted, it probably wasn't at the fat content, but then what I noticed for myself was I cooked it longer, which dries it out more. And then there's also part where you cook it to a certain period in cooking, and then you let it sit so it cooks itself internally, but then also keeps the juices. So that's all of the things. But what I'm getting at is that a lot of lean meat to me doesn't seem flavorful, but I also think it's because people are cooking the meat properly to get the best out of it.
Yeah. I think
Like
there's a
people
level of
like
that.
people like chicken breast. Like I don't like chicken breast because it's so dry most of the time. It's probably because most people are cooking it like
It's also
flat,
true. It's also
at a
true.
very high heat.
Yeah. Yeah, food is strange, man. There's a lot of different ones out there. A lot of people, different ways of cooking it. The intricacies, the the techniques. It's very interesting. And then looking at it from a local standpoint or a American standpoint, um, and how it's evolved through time, um, its effect on us. Because that, like we talked about before, I don't know if there's a right or wrong way. Like I just started learning. The other thing I was going to talk about was the blood type. Like
Oh
I've heard
yes,
of people talking about diet through blood type, and
yes.
obviously different characteristics that come with blood type. Theorized or you know proven or not or whatever. It is, and it's something that's like you don't ever hear about ever.
Like so there was a point when I was going through my whole stage. Well, not only that with blood type because I had to pay attention because of transplants, right?
Hmm.
But then I started to think too. It's like so your blood type. I think people's blood type also affects the way their immune system is. I think the blood type also affects how you do certain things because one of the things that came up during whatever, if it's true or not, was saying that people who had O negative blood type or whatever was less likely to get COVID,
Mm,
right? They didn't say you won't. They just said it like for some reason
less
it was
likely.
less likely, right?
Yeah.
So I'm just like, oh, okay. And then I started when I seen that and I started to think about like my health and I started thinking about certain things like, huh, I think that there's some truth to that there is certain things that your blood type on top of other things that will affect you. That like because I guess the point is this, right? Why is it there? Why do we even focus on a different blood type? Why is that even important? If that's the only importance is that, then is there other things that could be important through the blood type?
That's what I'm thinking because it's almost like I heard a thing yesterday. On marriage licenses, you would have to put your blood type on there. You know what I'm saying? And I heard some other thing where, like in Japan, they hire people based on blood type for certain things. You know what I'm saying? It's like, oh, they're A positive. Yeah, no, can't. Next. Like, not even, they don't even look, it's not even a resume. Like, what's your blood type? Nah,
Yeah.
next. And certain things align with that. It almost feels like that was something maybe a little more common before our time. And then we kind of don't really, talk about it. And then the only thing you really see it used for is transplants.
Yeah.
And it's so important because, as you would know, things got to kind of match up for this shit to work. So if we're so, hey, this is life and death, is it far fetched to think that our diets are connected to our blood type? And the reason why there's maybe a lot of different diets, but people aren't looking at it in the way that it's supposed to be looked at. Like, no, this is supposed to align with your blood type, not
Well,
like
well,
your feelings.
I went to a holistic person and they were talking about we I looked up my food allergies because that's another part too. People are not looking at, right? It's like, okay, can you possibly eating things that your body's naturally allergic to? So not only you're talking about your blood type, right? Say you're more susceptible to salt with your blood, but then you have other genetic things. It's like, oh, you've been eating just say berries, right? Because berries will lower your blood pressure, but blueberries affect you differently, right? So now your body is taking longer to heal itself because your body has a natural allergic reaction to blueberries, and so now you're not doing that either.
You're
These,
constantly
these are all things
inflamed.
that yeah, so you're inflamed or whatever. So these are all little things that I like. I think there's just so much more that we don't really know, you know, that we're still learning.
It's ever forever thing. I mean, with the blood type, like I think that's so fascinating. Like they talk about like super rare ones, and they talk about um like RH negative or RH positive, which is a unique bloodline, but a lot of people have it who are, I think that's the one that are in positions of power.
Yeah,
And they call it like the, Illuminati bloodline or the
I mean,
royal bloodline.
movies have done that too. It's like this
Yeah, exactly. I'm like,
for a
is
certain
this
blood
true
type
or not?
because this blood type will bring out the Nosferatu blood, whatever that needs to do.
Nosferatu.
This
What
is
movie
like
is that?
I don't know. Well, like part of it is like a mixture of Blade, and then I just watched Titans on HBO, which is like a Disney thing where this guy's like he's a lineage of one god a old god, and if he gets his blood type and it's whatever, he can bring back the guy from whatever death or some other dimension. So it's
Man,
like
that sounds like truth.
I mean,
I
there,
only think about that because I see those statues, with like the body of a whatever and then a human head.
yeah, or
They
whatever.
doing some DNA stuff, man.
They made the first Liger.
Dude, come on, man. The griffin, dude, they have flags of a griffin.
Yeah,
Wales, I think.
that's funny because
They
when
have a griffin on their flag. I'm like, what does that mean, man? There's dragons on flags. That shit was real.
you got dragons, statues that were like
Giants,
giant.
titans.
So as you say that right, and I'm just playing the devil's advocate part of it. We're like, you got dragons, tigers, you got ligers and statues of that. You're like, we kind of like okay, like that's kind of cool. You go to Philadelphia, they got a statue of fucking Rocky Balboa, made up character. We think that's dumb, you know.
That's true. Hey, that's
Right,
so
right,
true.
right. I'm just because when you said it, I just thought about that. Honestly, it's not something. It was like because I still think it's fucking silly that they have a statue of Rocky Balboa, who's not even a real
Like a
person.
real one. Yeah,
Like,
no.
he is so great. The story was made for him to be great, dude. And you want to put a thing of him, I mean, but we don't know who the Statue of Liberty was modeled after, and that's some made up character, and that's the definition of. I mean, I don't know if it's made up character after some research. I think it was actually modeled after a lady, but but that is like the representation of freedom. That and the Liberty Bell. an American bald eagle and American flag, but
Dude, see,
it depends
looking
on
at
which flag,
flags
right?
is something interesting too.
Because the
Flags are interesting, bro.
because the old Confederate flag was slavery for some, freedom from another, from the South. So it depends on how you look at it. But anyway,
I think you got a point there, man. History's all around us, man. That's why it's that whole thing what you were talking about with the moon and the surroundings. It's like
the
if you're
moon, the
not aware,
stars,
you're just
heaven,
not
and
aware.
earth.
Yeah, you're not aware. It's like you
Right.
just got to wait for everybody to arrive to that point. Not to say you have to, but it is a fascinating topic because that eliminates all the other stuff that they want you to really be thinking. Like, oh man, Democrat, Republican, Kings, Warriors. Man, they're showing all
Well, I
this
mean,
stuff on like, social media that people fighting in the stands. I was like, I
oh
don't want to
yeah,
see
I
that
was, I was
shit.
I was there too. I was like, what do you guys do? Like,
Exactly.
like,
What are
what are
we
you doing?
doing?
You have they don't fucking pay you shit. Some of these
See, and
people
that's
don't
how
really
they
give a
get us
fuck
done,
about
man.
you.
That's how they
What are
do
you
us, man.
doing? And don't get me wrong. I can't. I don't like the Kings mainly because of how I grew up with a Laker fan and getting hated on. But it's like there's a point where it's just like I don't put myself in these situations anymore because it's stupid. What are we doing?
Yeah. What are we doing? We
What
should
what
be
are we
talking
doing?
about blood types, man. We should be
Right?
talking
Yeah.
about
Hey, cuz,
Nosferatu, man.
cuz, what? Maybe there's something different. Maybe there's actually blood types, cuz.
Yeah, exactly. Blood type. Yeah. Hey, you know what I'm saying? Like, what are we doing, man? Dude, that's why you were talking about what movie you see again? Blade. Come on, man.
Yeah.
What if that was even half real? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That the way they explain it, it's like, okay, I don't know what type of drugs you got to be on to be creative like that, or you're reading books. Clearly, there is something out there that may have had this as myth, or it's an old book, like J.R. Tolkien or whoever did what's that called, Lord of the Rings. They say he had access to this university library that nobody really had access to
Hmm.
for I don't know how many years to help inspire Lord of the Rings. Watching Lord of the Rings, I'm like, you tell me that's on Earth?
Right?
What? The Eye of Sauron? Like
Middle Earth.
what?
It's on Middle Earth, not Earth.
Middle Earth, dude.
I was
See,
like,
come on, man. Come on, man.
there's upper and lower Earth. Earth. Yeah, the lower Earth is the devil. Is the heat. It's
No,
the
but that's made up. They tell us the other stuff. No, you're just a speck of dust in a whole entire galaxy of a galaxy of a galaxy. You're one of 1 million species out there. You're insignificant.
yeah.
Like
No, you're one
what?
of 1 million, but 1 billion of a possible endless number of numbers that we don't even know.
Oh, see, that's so 50-50. Why do they do that to us? Why they keep us in limbo, man?
I mean, because they don't know, and then two, I believe you give some people things to believe, they have more of a reason to live. Give them
Ding
a
ding
direction
ding.
and whatever they'll live for most people.
Oh, that's deep.
So
That was deep.
I believe that. Like there's certain things why I do certain things. Like I rather not because then I don't want to get caught up in some other shit. Like you like I don't know. I believe you said this a while ago. You said that having a kid had you change the way you looked at things. Correct?
Oh, for sure.
Sometimes having these little things like that gives you purpose. So having something to believe in, to fight for will give you purpose. One of the things you don't want is someone that don't care and loss of purpose. That's a scary person. They may
Yeah,
fuck some shit up. But what's
that's a good
also
point.
even scarier is someone dedicated to whatever purpose that may be. I'm gonna go out there, and I'm just saying Hitler. I'm gonna go out there, and for some reason, I'm going to make people know that Jewish people are terrible to an extent to start wars because you're hell bent on what you believe your purpose is too.
Hitler is a fascinating guy.
He is, and it is like there's a lot of people, like I said before, there's a lot of good people who have done bad things. There's a lot of bad people who've done amazing things too. You know, it's kind of crazy because sometimes when you watch it, you're like, "Wow, this happened," but then you kind of was not. I mean, like I said, it's all perspective. But it's like to me, you were guided in the wrong direction. You know, there's a lot of people that used to say that prisoners are some of the best engineers. How the fuck did you make that shiv? I just make that prison burrito. What the fuck? Who told you that? Oh yeah, yeah. I did this. This is that's called heat induction. You didn't even know that, you know. These little things that you may not know the proper scientific term, but you know it exists.
Oh no, amen to that. That is true.
Like what I'm saying? It's like it's just there's like I said, intellect is definitely interesting because we base it off of a certain level of stuff. Like, you know what, I joke around, or I joke around. I need to stop saying that. We're growing up, right? A lot of people base people on their intellect on either math or English, right? The expectation in the world though is you have to be good at English or you're illiterate and you're an idiot, right? People will be like, "Oh, you're smart because you're good at math," but the moment you misspell words or whatever, you're a fucking idiot to a lot of people.
I think
Right?
there's yeah.
While most people say, "I don't know math," I'm okay, and you can be okay with that.
Yes.
People are like, "Oh, it's okay. Math is hard." I'm okay. I can be good at math, but terrible at English, and people are like, "You're an idiot."
Yeah. I agree with that.
Way more
Like
lenient on English than it is, or not or math and English.
I think in math, if you don't know, like, I think you get made fun of after like plus and minus.
Yeah, yeah. After plus and minus, which is
Like
the
you're fucking yeah, you're a joke. But with English,
wait. Say that. Do you get made fun of after, or you
oh
don't
no,
get?
no, no, you don't get made fun of
Yeah, yeah,
after
yeah.
like
Yeah, if
plus and
you're like,
minus.
what's 3 plus 4? 6. Dummy,
Boom! But if
dummy.
it's like, yo, what's 45 divided by 3?
15.
You
Yeah.
tripping? Hell
Yeah.
yeah, I don't know either, bro. It's all good.
You ain't me either.
Yeah, so that's where it ends, plus and
But
minus.
you can have like 9 different theirs and be like, I spelled the wrong one. Could be fat fingered or whatever.
Idiot.
Dummy, illiterate
EI,
motherfucker.
IR, what?
There's
EREY.
like
Where's
not,
your
there's,
apostrophe?
yeah, there's like 4 definitions for the same thing,
Oh
or words for
man.
the same thing. It's like, what? Why do
Wow.
we have to have all that stuff?
Don't get it on a
Dummy.
text. You'll get screenshotted.
Dude,
It's the most embarrassing
I've
thing
done
you
it.
could do ever in the
I
world.
looked at old Facebook. I was like, ooh. And
Even if
now,
you say something, you get clowned hella
yeah,
hard.
you cannot, like, I did this with my mom earlier today. What did you say? It was like, I was like, what?
Yeah, why is
And,
that?
and part of it is like, I know why I do it. I know why I do it. It's because I know that fact is that you're looked at that way. I'm gonna do
Ah,
that.
so you enforce it. Yes.
Yes, especially when you like is in a weird way. This sounds really bad because some people look at 2 different ways, but it's like when you love someone, you want to make sure that they're protected when they get out there. So you don't want them to leave the house looking uneducated. Sometimes you got to be harder
Mm,
on the people you love.
yeah, hard love, tough love. That is true. It is a representation of the family within the tribe.
I forgot who said it. It was on the show. It was like I rather be spanking my son at home than have beating my son at home than having the cops beat him out in the streets. You know what I'm saying?
What show was that? That must have been
I
in
forgot. I forgot.
1993.
It was probably Fresh Prince of Bel Air or something, and
Could
Will's
have
dad
been
came in and he was like, "Why don't you love me, Dad?" Right?
no, it was probably what's that what was that show of Robert Townsend, that family show?
Ooh, I don't remember that one honestly. I can't.
Ah,
Remember that
fuck, it
one.
was slipping my mind. I was watching it the other day.
There was a show with Robert Townsend. Yeah, there was because I always remember Robert Townsend on like two movies. I think there was one where he was like a superhero, Meteor Man. Took
Oh.
me took me like a half a second to remember. Oh, I can't even remember yesterday, but I can remember Meteor Man. You know,
Man, I like Robert Townsend. He's
yeah,
like that dude that like people know but they don't know.
yeah,
But he's credited with a lot of or being in the room with a lot of work. I was like, that's
like
cool.
he's like the stern, silly comedian in a weird way. Like he has this presence where he looks very controlled, not too willy, not wild, but he'll go there, but he still looks put together in a
Yeah,
way. You know what I'm saying? It's not like Eddie Murphy who looks like flamboyant, flashy, raw, raw jokes. It was
mm,
like Robert Towns was more reserved, but his stuff was more thoughtful, jokes, silly, you know.
he was
Still,
good.
yeah,
He was good.
still look respectable. He'll go to work in a suit.
Yeah, I think it might have been on one of those. Definitely not a show in the new show. They wouldn't say in
Well,
that.
I'm thinking of The Rock too. Like everybody, like people used to love The Rock. He'll come home. He was a what was a truck driver, or not truck driver. He was a waste management guy,
Oh yeah,
right? Not knowing, by the way, anybody who listens to this, waste management people get paid pretty well, but
yeah. I
yeah,
just started. I learned about that like 2 weeks ago about how that business works.
yeah, plumbers get paid well, and
Oh
it's actually
man.
it's and that's going back to people like being really good at what they do. It's funny you talk to a plumber and it's like, well, actually, the gasket, blah blah blah, the pressure on and they can be saying whatever. For some reason, I trust plumbers more than I trust fucking auto mechanics. Auto
Yo, for
mechanics
sure.
always
Yeah.
talk.
They're
I'm gonna
doing
stop
they're
right.
doing the most for the
I'm gonna
world
stop right there.
itself. They be unknown. Those are like the real heroes, man. Without them,
Dude.
we
Yeah.
be walking in shit.
Yeah. Yeah. Just stomping in my Air Force Ones and shit, taking a shower
No,
on.
you know them stilts. Like you ever seen those old photos of people on stilts walking through the streets of Europe and shit?
Oh, I have, and now when you say that, it makes sense.
You know what that was because no
Like
one knew what the fuck was going on with the sewage.
yeah,
So it's like, what happened? Nobody took away. They all took away the plumbing classes.
yeah.
Nobody was passing down the plumbing legacy. Like, what's going on?
If there's one group of people that like, if there was a virus outbreak, a COVID outbreak again,
Oh,
plumbers would survive because it's like I already put my hand in shit and toilet paper and
we all gone.
air, and your nut residuals.
And you're working in the kitchen? Get the motherfucking
Yeah,
like,
right.
get the fuck out of it. Wait, you playing basketball, bro? Like, no.
They just like, oh, what? I don't get sick. I'm immune to that, man. I just
Yeah. I'm like, no, I got a toilet right here. Like, what?
yeah,
And a sink? Oh, get out of here. This guy, like, he's got to be, if there's a draft for, trying to figure out, how to build your society, plumber is top three for sure. I'm pretty sure, if not number one. If
yeah.
not my sleeper number one, just off the gate without even doing any research, plumber might be number one.
Dude, yeah. It'd be like, all right, hey, we're going this plumber, hunter gatherer, like someone who can kill something, right? And a doctor. Those are the two, like those kind of people you need, and maybe electrician in case you need to. Like, how can we get some energy here? How can we do this? Boom, boom, boom. Everybody else can go.
Oh, electrician would be, but see, electrician is interesting because that is based on the idea of electricity. But what is electricity? If we had to go on an island with these people,
It's movement or oh yeah, if you're on an island, maybe not, but I meant like in
yeah,
a
we
residential
take
area.
over, yeah,
Yeah,
a city.
residential would do that. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, that's a yeah, hunter gatherer. Well, shit, if we're in a city, are we hunter gatherers?
No, you're right.
Farmer. Farmer might be number one. Farmer might be the LeBron James, actually.
There's a couple because there's a farmer and then like they're all like I said, all everybody has their thing, but like even people who know medicine, like fuck, we can do this. Give me,
Oh, that might
and
be yeah. Oh,
when I
that
think,
might be that might
and, I,
be
and, I,
like
and all I can think about is,
magic.
well, let me take that back. It all depends. Once you get to a point, where it's like, nah, fuck it, the strong survives. We can't hold. Then you're like ass out. Then the doctor doesn't matter. You know what I'm saying? You're like whatever.
No, there's that person. You know what? That person might be number one because the person that does, and I'll say medicine or healing or whatever that is, they have to know alchemy for sure,
Mm,
right? They have to know how things come together to make, you know, potions or medicine,
yeah,
right? So that's including the periodic table or whatever that series of information was passed down. Whoever's doing the healing medicine has to know that. That might be the number one draft pick in in
and the
building society.
yeah the apocalypse war, right? Like hold on, let's do
That
this.
might be the Magic Johnson right there. That might be the yeah, that's what makes it all come together because the information that person will have will be able to get information to everybody else about our surroundings.
Yeah. But no, don't do this, plumber.
Then farmer's got to be number two.
Because for a while, a plumber, if you're out in the woods or whatever, you can just shit in the woods and you're
That's
no.
true. See, so to make medicine
That's what
though,
I'm saying.
the guy
Like,
would know medicine.
electrician and plumber are only good for city situations, or if you're
Oh, see, they're low. Okay, so they're out of the lottery
you can.
probably.
I mean, I'm not saying you would. I'm gonna have to look into it, but like, just say hypothetically, you can use your shit to fertilize food or whatever.
Boom. Okay, damn, dude. See, that's like Sam Bowie at pick number two before Jordan. We were like, dude, plumber all day, and then oh shit, this fool he can't pass the ball to himself. Oh, this fool can't even stay healthy. Oh no, damn it, plumber. Why? Why plumber?
Yeah. We're like, can you read? I just know how to read plumbing.
Yeah, man. I was like, where are the pipes?
We're
I thought you knew.
on a crack pipe now. I
I
thought
just work on stuff that's there. I don't know how to make it.
because like I hate to say this, but a cook wouldn't really matter because you just get the basic stuff. You're like, all right, well,
The
all right,
plumber could cook. It's like everybody can cook. Shaman
yeah,
could cook.
right. He's like, all right, get some fish.
Yeah.
Oh,
He'll probably just write out a formula. Like, here's what you get.
here's I'm an alchemist on what on food. This,
Alchemist may be
this
number
doesn't
one.
fucking matter when we need substance in our food. This doesn't matter if it's good. I don't need saltine crackers, bitch. Get out.
Yeah, see. Okay, see, we might have a draft pick there. We might have the number one guy right there. Alchemist right now. Medicine guy, second, probably should be first. 1A,
And like
1B.
I said, it depends on where it's at because if you're
Depends on what
if you're not
island.
if
If
you're
you're
in
on
a
an
city,
island, if you're on
you need a hunter
existing
gatherer.
city, you're in the mud.
Yeah, you
You're in
need
the
someone, a weapon specialist that's like, all right, let me go ahead and be willing to kill and hunt to get the food, right?
Oh, do you set up defenses out the gate
Oh,
because you are assuming that there are enemies or there will be enemies?
according to my knowledge of apocalypse shows, you're just always going to be an enemy. What happens is not only you're fighting against whatever is happening in the apocalypse, you're fighting against people who are the worst.
Mm.
Maybe sometimes worse than what you're fighting against. Because they can't even notice that we need each other to survive. What they need is just themselves. And then after a while, we populate too much. There's not enough fucking food to go buy. So we gotta fucking food. We gotta eat you, then or no, we gotta kill you, then eat part of your booty.
Oh,
It's like,
see,
and I'm now really eating shitlins.
maybe and that's the idea of cannibalism. Is like that's more of a movie, but that's a real thing
Well, I
in
mean, like,
real life, right?
like,
Quote
yeah,
unquote.
like it's like you like if you're like, yo, man, I'm about to die anyway, kill you. Hopefully, it's not infected meat. You know, so
Man,
that's
what
just
was that movie that came out in the '90s? That
a
plane
lot.
crash.
A
Oh, that
arguably,
was the first time of ever hearing the idea of
yeah,
what
which is
happened.
based off a real story.
You had
I
to eat.
always joke around thinking like
Oh,
if I pass away or something, like I'm a donor. I'm like I joke around like, hey, make sure you save my penis. That's a good one right there.
fuck it. Yeah, I'd be like, take my penis into the forest so it could turn into stone and then bring that
Yeah,
back to the house.
put it back in there. It's what do they call it, petrified, right?
Yeah, been petrified. I've been learning about that too, man. There's some people prophesizing out there like gigantic mountains are just, fucking gigantic mammoths and behemoth like elephants and people and rocks are like hearts and livers and stuff like that. I was like, actually, I can see that.
I felt like something petrified still breaks over time, right?
Yeah, but you can't
Like,
tell. Like,
I guess a rock does. I mean, but it's just
yeah,
like
there was somebody that did some kind of side to side scale of a mountain that replicates the exoskeleton of a elephant skull.
hmm,
And then they did side by side footage. It was like I don't know how long the video was. It was fucking extremely long. I fucking eyeballs red, but basically patterned what it would be. And it was like so. There was a lot of similarities. Can't say all of it was accurate, but it was a reach. But even throw the idea out there, I was like, oh, I could see that
yeah,
because what is the stuff we're on really at the end of the day? It's just all dead shit.
yeah.
Really.
Well,
However many centuries, it's something after the other. And we're just trying to piece together what we're on now. That's why I have all the questions about underneath ground and because I'm like, at least that's still structured right now. But who's to say how much of the world has already been swept away and how many times? You know what I'm saying? Like, oh, this is what are we on and what are we doing? That's why all the questions we ask about food and it always seems like it always comes together, and then we always feel like it's the battle of seesaw in the mind. It's peace versus madness and trying to be perfect without being perfect and living and not thinking too far ahead. And it's like you
Like, like,
said.
like I said, like, oh, good.
Oh yeah, like we were gonna say. Go ahead. Go ahead.
I was gonna say, like, when you said perfect but not be perfect, they always joke around with like dating, right? People are like, I'm not perfect, but you, motherfucker, you need to be perfect. That's dating in a sense, right? Like, perfect,
That's a
but
good.
you, motherfucker, need to need to fucking accept me for my imperfections, and I'm not gonna talk to you because your left lip kind of curls weird, and that's not perfect. Get the fuck out of here.
Ah man, relationships are
Right, right.
wacky.
I know I go back and forth, but it's just funny about that. Like I always felt like you supposed to accept me, motherfuckers. You don't even accept yourself, let alone someone else. So how the fuck are you gonna sit there and want perfection?
Oh
You know,
man, the relationship game
are these
is
bars or what, dude? Like I only say that because hey, whoever's listening, maybe the 15 people or whatever. Hey, I'm only saying that because I'm flawed and I had to take a step back and look at myself.
true.
Self
There's a
reflection is a
renaissance.
great teacher.
There's a
Failure
renaissance.
failure and self reflection is a great teacher in life. Because if something's not working out for you, you reflect. And then you have to take a step back and be like, is that me or is that the situation? Bars.
For that. Relationships are wacky, man. People are strange in all levels.
Oh yeah.
It's like, yeah, trying to find harmony with someone and find, peace and maintain that. Very
Right.
difficult.
Right.
Very difficult. And I think, yeah, trying to get priorities straight. That's why it's like tough because of I think the more we become accustomed to social media and it keeps on changing, um, and I think it's generational. I think it's our generation's trying to figure out how because we've had so many different iterations of what relationships um are to us. You know what I'm saying? Because of the way that media was consumed by us. We were the TV generation, so we're seeing it visually now, not just hearing it, on top of the reality of the world still. But then now you have, your phone and the YouTube and the social media. So the way we're consuming everything, especially with our little inherited history, like what we talked about earlier, it does change the way we think. Whereas opposed to imagine if we were just born with social media around us, like if we all had phones, like we always say this, phones in elementary, right? I'm to assume kids have phones
Probably
in
have
elementary.
we probably have 4 or 5 different step half brothers and sisters that we didn't know about.
See that exactly. You know what I'm saying? Like, so
Yeah,
that's what's
like,
so fascinating about today's world is there's a generation that's going to be like that, and we have no clue how that's going to, change their mind, and we're still dealing with our stuff within our generation of people who live somewhat experienced the same, you know, technology advancement. I guess is seems like the
yeah,
unifying thing, right?
yeah. So I mean, because like you said, so like relationships weird. The information that we're giving is some of it is true, some of it is twisting because of the access to it, right? There's so many things that's like, what are you talking about now? Everything's a new definition that doesn't make any fucking sense anymore. You know, everybody has a voice, even ourselves has a voice to put out there. And, sometimes it's good because the more information you get, the more you can get data points to figure out what's right or wrong. But then the more incorrect, depending on what you believe, right? Because I'm just saying that I'm not going to sit there and say what side or not, but the more incorrect information you get or filtered information you get, then you start to believe that is the truth. So it's just like it's fucking weird.
It's
But
weird, dude. But
but
I fuck it's exciting to me. I think it's because I find it so fascinating. Like at least what I've been able to conjure up with the things that I research. It keeps me in a state of like, oh man, This is just fascinating. I don't know if it's fucking true, but this is just as fascinating as watching Lord of the Rings to me, and just seeing, people's work. And there's a lot of good work out there, at least that I've seen, that it keeps me interested. And it's like almost watching new TV. This is like
Yeah.
finding Ancient Aliens the first time, or finding whatever show that, hey dude, have you seen this show? Like, it's like that kind of, and it's cool because it's just kind of something that I kind of breeze upon, and it's helped me kind of piece together, a couple different things that help corroborate with some of my philosophies in life, and helps with my spirituality for sure. Just kind of seeing different perspectives on what could and what may have been, and um, dude, it's just strange, man, and I love sharing this stuff with you because you have a whole different slew of things that you've seen. And that's how I was like, dude, what did you think? What did you see? And I'm like,
Oh
that's
yeah. I mean, it's
really what it is. I hope that that's what people listen to. It's just like, yo, this is just, we're just talking. We're just trying to
I'm,
figure
I'm
shit out. I don't know what the fuck's going on.
a walking contradiction. Sometimes I'm really deep, and sometimes I'm really fucking simple, not reading into certain things. Sometimes
Oh, fuck. We're just saying crazy shit.
this, I'm a weird dude. Like you. No, I'll just leave it at that. But
Nah, that's true, dude. Like, we're all parroting something. Even the shit I'm getting from is getting from someone, getting from someone else. It's like, damn, like how much parroting is going on? What's the truth, or what's my truth, and what's your truth? And oh, okay. Oh, okay. So because like we talked about before, it's like inherently we know what the fuck we're supposed to do. Like, we know that we're supposed to rely on each other to survive. You know what I'm saying? Like I talked to that isolation thing. Like, yeah, in jail, if you fucking are bad in jail, you put in isolation. That means that you're away from people. So there's some understanding that we know that if we're not around people, we will struggle. Clearly. So to have that, and then,
very
talk about the
confined,
things we're
right?
talking about, it's like we inherently either know something, and it's deep in our roots. We know how to do this right, alone and together. But what's stopping us from getting to that point? And then it starts from within, and all those, cliche things. And I'm like, that is the game of life. It sucks and it's great.
It's from within.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like that whole clean your room first and then clean the world up. Like, oh, okay. I mean, true. They got some point
Good.
there. I mean, there is some.
First before like what did they say? You save yourself first before you save someone else in a plane, things like that.
Yeah. See, it's like we know it's supposed to do. Yeah. Like that game of life. Hey, what house did you pick?
Right? Guess what? It's really nice, isn't it? Yes, it is. Guess what comes with it? That price tax, nigga.
Yo,
Tax.
I used to get the tutor, or I would get the beach house. I like the beach house. I was like, dude, I want to live on the beach. And I was like, this is cheap. And that's hella tight.
No, I mean it's been so long that I played it. There's other one that's this version is kind of like life, but it's like redneck. I don't know if it's hillbilly or something. So it breaks it down as like pretty much it's you're you're a hillbilly or redneck, and you buy stuff, and you start off already with like you have to roll for your name, and you have to roll the first number would be like Bob Jones or Bobby Lee or whatever, right?
Oh
And
man.
then like yeah, like you have a whole list of like how many kids you have. You could have up to 20 kids. Like what the fuck?
Oh, that is hilarious. That is
So
hilarious.
the how you win at the end of the game is that you're the person with the least amount of debt and the most amount of teeth.
Man, that's a good way to look at it, though. To be
So
honest, that's a
I was
that's a
like,
good indicator right there.
pretty funny, dude. It's like okay,
I mean,
but
there might be something to that. There might be something to that.
all right. So, but yeah, man,
Oh yeah, getting tired. Hey, happy birthday Eve, bro.
thank you, man.
Sky high, baby.
Uh,